Continuing through our process, we are going to move into ZBrush 3.2 here on our Mac. Now, in doing that, we're going to utilize the GoZ plugin, which can only be used in the Mac version of ZBrush 3.2 and the PC version 4.0 and higher. The process involves a number of things before you actually go into ZBrush, making sure that face normals are accurate and facing the right direction as opposed to inward, where it can cause a lot of undesirable happenings. We also want to make sure that all of these objects here, or geometry, pieces of geometry, are set to one UV set. Because this is such a simple character, we won't need to make it any more than one UV set. You'll see why later. ZBrush has a way of utilizing plugins to help the efficiency of this particular workflow. So first off, we want to make sure that we are creating an extra bit of geometry, just in case we mess up, and we'll hit the Control D to duplicate it, and then we'll hit Control H to hide it. Now we'll have this in case we mess up later. We have that to fall back on. You always want to have a contingency plan. You could even create a third set if you really wanted to. The next thing we want to do is make sure that our face normals are facing the right direction. And if you remember correctly, we created this body using an EP curve. EP curves kind of throw things in a weird direction. This is made from a primitive, so you won't have to worry so much about the face normals on that. And I'll show you really quick. If you go into your display, down to polygons, and hit your face normals or create a shortcut, which I have done on my shelf. It looks like this on a Mac. You'll see that all my face normals on this primitive are pretty much accurate and they're facing outward. Well, we can hit that like an on and off switch and close that. We'll go down to our body, hit our face normals, and as you can see, there are some complications. So we need to try to fix this to make all of our face normals look like they're facing outward. We'll hit this extra icon over here, which you can create as a shortcut through your normals. Hit reverse, and it should reverse all of these actual normals. But I did create a shortcut, so I'm going to utilize it. And now we're where we need to be. We can turn this off. We'll go into our belt because I remember that this was not created from a primitive, so let's work on that. We'll hit our face normals, and yes, indeed, we need to fix that. Looks good. Now we can combine all these and make a poly surface out of them. You can either select them in the work window, or we can select them over here, which I like to do by holding or clicking the top one and then holding Shift and clicking the bottom one. Left click. We will go into our mesh drop down menu, hit combine. Now once we've got that, we can bring this up here by holding the middle mouse button and dragging it up. What I'll do is delete the history on it because we don't really need these anymore. Bringing any type of history into ZBrush can cause some major issues, so you don't want to do that. There are some other preliminary things that you can do, and they're really just options. I don't want to go through them because I don't see the need to. But let's delete the history on this. Now we have our poly surface. We can name that Example Man, because that's the name of the actual file itself. And simply enough, we're going to take this particular Example Man and bring him into ZBrush. Now, because I've actually gone through this a number of times, you're probably going to see some window pop up that may not pop up in your screen using the Mac version. It says, you already have this saved off in another document. Would you like to relink it? Well, let's see what happens here. Now, we don't want to relink. I guess you could. It says relink object to existing GoZ mesh Example Man, or you can create a new one. Let's hit relink because we don't want to create too many nodes that we have to delete later and get confused. So we'll just do that. We'll hit continue. It brings us directly over into ZBrush, and I want to show you something. As I bring this character in, you'll notice how he comes in. We'll show you in the next video what to do about that.